Good morning from California and welcome to Race Industry Now, the weekly webinar series from ePowerTrade, presented to you by ARP, Performance Plus Global Logistics, Peak, Shop Monkey, and Fifth Third Bank Motorsport. I am Francisque Savignan, the founder and CEO of ePowerTrade, the global platform for the performance and racing industry. This is episode 336, and we're going to be talking about education and a specific motorsport degree that's offered online by National Motorsport Academy. With me this morning are Judy Kinn, the co-founder of ePowerTrade, and our superstar host, three-time NASCAR co-chief champion, Mr. Jeff Hammond. Judy?
That's deserved, Jeff.
It is.
Oh, thank you.
So I just, all the time we hear nice comments about our newsletter. They really just have a lot of new companies, a lot of technology on there. So I just want to remind people, if you're registered for this platform and see some content or product that you're interested in, please log into the platform and connect with that showcasing supplier, because that's why they're on this platform showcasing their wares to you. So just want to give a little reminder there. So Jeff?
Well, good morning to both of you folks out there in California, and thank you very much for Francis for those kind words and the support that you and Judy both give me. I do appreciate, and I'm excited about being here today because, our sport is continuing to grow. And we've got a lot of people who recognize that the sport of auto racing is a worldwide desire to be a part of. And so many people want to get in. And unfortunately, speaking from experience, it's a really tough deal. It's almost like if you're trying to get into a college and you want to go to Harvard or Yale, you got to have the right connections and a lot of money to try to get something going on. So I guess where I'm going with this is I feel like we're blessed to have the director of motorsports for the National Motorsports Academy. And I hope I'm getting your name right, Dr. Kieran Reeves.
Yes, perfect.
Good morning, sir. And we're excited to have you here. And we're really excited about, what you're going to share with us. And I found it very compelling when I was, learning about the Academy, learning about what your programs look like from the outside looking in. I was sitting there thinking, and I told Judy this morning when I was talking to her earlier. If I was a few years younger, I'd probably be making an application to try to get into some of your classes, because I really feel like that there's a lot to be learned and a lot I would like to be exposed to. And at that point, I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us what you got in store for us today.
So I'm going to give a presentation, probably 25 minutes, half an hour, discussing everything that we do online. How we do it, how we actually deliver that program online, and how it works, obviously, with the practical elements of motorsport. So I'm going to go through all that, little bit of info about our programs, our modules, what's in each module, and then some frequently asked questions, basically how we assess you and how you work your way through the program, and kind of the progress a student makes and how it looks from a student's point of view trying to work through a program online.
Well, I will like to say one thing, and I want everybody there out here right now that's listening and watching. Normally I go like, when I get about 4 or 5 questions, I'll, interrupt our presenter and try to answer those questions. But in your case, I want people to know if he's got a presentation like I think he has, let's let him finish it and see if the questions are answered as we go through the program. And then we can go back and, kind of pick up maybe where we missed something. Because I want to make sure everybody understands, I think this is a very exciting avenue. And hopefully we got a lot of folks from all forms of motorsports taking a look at what's out there, because I don't think this is a one-dimensional deal. This is not a NASCAR deal. This is not strictly a Formula One deal. This is engineering and education at its finest, in my opinion.
Very nice to say, thank you.
Well, the floor is all yours, sir. Have at it.
Okay, I'll just share my screen and we're good to go. Okay, so is that okay? Everyone can see that screen?
It looks wonderful to me.
Oh, perfect. So I'll just start with actually a little bit of background about ourselves, just on this title screen. So first and foremost, we are engineers. and we do go racing. We have our own race team. 8 years ago now, when I set up the National Motorsport Academy, I was approached by a company who owned an online degree company delivering other online degrees, and we talked about trying to get motorsport online and deliver it online. And obviously there's a lot of practical based fundamentals to motorsport online. We went back and forth of how we may do that, and eventually we came to the conclusion that we actually want to deliver to the industry, people in the industry, people who may have worked in the industry for a while and can't progress in their company. So they may have mortgages, they may be married, can't really afford to leave work and go back to university full time. So I wanted to give a platform to people who can use their practical skills in work and also study with us online in their free time, and they don't have to leave work to do that, and continue with their employment. So that's what I'm going to kind of go through today, how that's possible, how people can stay in their full-time employment and pick up a degree at the same time. So firstly, who are we? As I've just said, we are all engineers, race engineers. We're all qualified lecturers and teachers and professors and everything else. But first and foremost, everybody who works here has a motorsport background, which I think is very important to have that aspect first. And what we're trying to do with our own race teams as well is share our wealth of experience, our academic views, obviously our programs, with people to allow them to get a degree. By them studying online, also coming racing with us. There's an opportunity to come racing with us. You can see a few students on there as well on the current slide. And hopefully at the end of that, everybody can leave the National Motorsport Academy with a degree and advance their careers and continue with what they were doing beforehand. So a few achievements in the past. The National Motorsport Academy, like I say, we first launched the National Motorsport Academy in 2015. So we're just getting up to 8 years now. And as we launched and we started building the program, as I say, we're all race engineers. So we have a Mosler, which anybody who's joining from America hopefully will recognize a Mosler there, the MT900. And we have an ex-Lotus Le Mans car that competed in Le Mans in 2011 and finished Le Mans in 2011. We also have that car. So we've got some, very good cars that we allow our students to work on. All our racing is done with our students. So the students attend the race events with us, and it's a student race team. Of course, we're there as engineers, but our students are there competing with us. So straight away, as we started racing with our students, as you can see in 2016, our first competitive year, we were running in the GTC class with our Evora, which is a bit of a lower class. It's one class lower than the GTO. The GT Open is the biggest class you can run in. GTC was one class below, and we came second with our Evora. Into 2017, we jumped up and we did a lot of modifications with the students again, and their dissertations helped provide evidence of how we may improve our Evora, the engine, the aerodynamics, etc. So the students were getting hands-on experience, and also with their dissertations and final thesis, adding some value to our race cars as well. So we jumped up to the top class, which is GTO class, and we came third that first year. Then in 2018, which was really good for the students, again in the GTO class with our Mosler, we actually won the championship, the GTO championship that year. Unfortunately, in 2019, we had quite a large accident and we had to retire from the season. And then, as everybody knows, with the pandemic and everything else that came from that year onwards. But we're currently back. We're back in GT Cup. We're in Group GTO and we're running a Mosler. In fact, we've just come off the last weekend at Brands Hatch, and we had 3 wins out of 4. So we're starting to gain some good points in the championship. And again, the students are doing really, really well with what we're doing. So we've got a few achievements there. And I wanted to show the achievements, not just academically, obviously, what we're doing practically with our students. Oh, sorry. So what do we actually do? And that's what we're starting to get to, what we talked about earlier. So we deliver higher education. That's what we're doing, higher education. So in the UK, they are degrees, bachelor degrees, master's degrees, to the industry, as I say, and it's all online. Now, who might that be? So anybody who's thinking of coming, and people come to us and speak to us from all sorts of different levels. So I've not put an exhaustive list there, and I'm not going to read them all out, but you could be coming from any automotive background, and it might not just be, as people first think, the mechanical side on the spanners in pit lane. You could be research and development engineers back at the factory and actually designing cars. So you can come from any background within the motorsport industry. And I'm sure some people will recognise there some of the job descriptions or similar job descriptions. And where do our students work? Well, we have students all the way from grassroots up to Formula One, World Endurance, IMSA. So we have people from all backgrounds again, at all different levels, working through our programme, which is really good network for all the students to communicate and help improve their own careers as they graduate. So like I said, not an exhaustive list, but we have people from everywhere. So us as an academy, we are partnered with De Montfort University. So in the UK, if you're an academy or a college, you have to have your degrees rubber stamped. So we own all the intellectual property, we wrote it all, we own the programme. But De Montfort University, as the ultimate university, rubber stamp our degree and what we do. They are part of they've got a gold standard in the teaching education framework. So they're a very good university, recognised university. And currently because our programmes are doing so well and we've had good output from our programmes, we are currently going through the process of being accredited by the Institute of Mechanical Engineers. So our students will be able to apply for iEng and CEng status as they leave our programmes. Not everybody may know what that is, but in the UK, people will know what I'm talking about. And we've gone through the first phase of that, and now we're due for inspection. Again, due to the pandemic, it's been delayed, but hopefully in 2024, we will receive our recognition from IMechE. So what is it that we actually deliver? So just a little bit of background here based on the UK education system. So our students will leave school, as we call school, with what we call GCSEs or equivalent at 16 years old. And then they go on to further education. Now, further education could be vocational qualifications, so something practical, engineering, mechanical skills, electrical skills, construction, etc. Or they may go and do more academic qualifications called A-levels. So that's basically our level 1, 2, and 3. Once you gain your vocational qualification or A-level or equivalent, you have a level 3 qualification. Usually takes 2 years, around 18 years of age. People leave, and then they move on, if they so wish, to higher education. That is where we are. We deliver higher education degrees, as you can see on the graph here. So our bachelor's degree is 360 credits. The modules are made up of 30 credits per level. So 120 credits makes a level. So your first 120 credits, or 4 modules, is level 4, the same for level 5, and then level 6, which is the bachelor's degree that you will leave with, is another further 120 credits. For certain students, and what we offer, people may come to us with very good academic qualifications already, i.e. a level 4 or 5, or a lot of actual experience in the motorsport industry. Now, what we can do in the UK is we can map our modules to what people may have done in the industry. If that's okay and we can sign off against all our modules, you could actually enter as a top-up degree student, which means you only study the level 6 program, which will take 1 year rather than 3 years. So it's a nice way to fast track for very, very experienced people in the motorsport industry. Further than that, once you've got a bachelor's degree, you can go on to advanced higher education, postgraduate education, as we call it, which includes a master's degree or a doctorate. Now, we deliver master's degrees, And for that, it will take about 2 years, but you do 180 credits. And each of our modules at master's degree are 15 credits each. So you do eight modules at 15 credits each, and then you do a final 60 credit thesis, which you'll see the same through our BSc, our top up, or our MSc. Our thesis is 60 credits, and we put a lot of emphasis on you showcasing your skills in that final year with a dissertation or a final thesis. One other part of note, just while I'm on this slide, is any of our modules, and I'm going to go through some quick videos next. Any of our modules can be studied as standalone CPD, so continuous professional development. So you may just like the look of one of our modules, and you can enroll and study any one of our modules as you so wish. Okay, so that's a little bit about our educational system and what we deliver. And of course, we are in the higher education and higher education postgraduate. So level 4 to level 7 is the level we are delivering at. Now,
during level 4, you will study 4 modules, starting with Mathematics for Motorsports, where you'll develop the skills to calculate solutions to typical race vehicle engineering problems. You'll then move on to race car design and preparation, where you'll be introduced to race rules and regulations and how to apply these to race vehicle designs. You will also recap on typical vehicle systems. You'll finish this module with learning how to prepare and set up a vehicle for track use and how incorrect settings can affect the vehicle performance. Next is R&D simulation analysis, where you'll be taught how to use the various industry software packages. You will study 3D CAD modeling, finite element analysis, and computational fluid dynamics. This module is based on you building the skills to use the software packages so that you can put them to good use in future modules. Level 4 concludes with fundamentals of motorsport technology, where you'll study engineering materials and appropriate uses, including the lifing of components and material failures. This module also introduces you to electrical and electronic basics, including sensors, actuators, and the use of engine management systems. The first module at level 5 is thermodynamics and fluid mechanics, where you will learn the engineering principles allowing you to succeed as an aerodynamicist or internal combustion engine design engineer. Fluid mechanics studies fluid and airflow within pipes and chambers as well as over solid bodies. You'll then move on to engine design, development and simulation, where you use industry standard 1D simulation software. You'll be able to take your mathematical concepts to simulated reality. Next is vehicle dynamics, physics and data acquisition, where you'll study longitudinal and lateral behaviour of a race vehicle. Tyre modelling and data analysis techniques are also included. You'll then move on to work experience and a research study, where you'll be able to showcase all your newfound knowledge within a race team or organisation. You'll then move on to Module 9. If you choose the engine module, you'll analyse data taken from tests carried out on flow benches and dynamometers. You'll then use this data to fully validate your complex engine simulation models. If it is the aerodynamics module you've chosen, you'll study aerodynamic packages on race vehicles, such as front splitters, rear diffusers, and how aerodynamic devices work. You'll then be able to apply the theories to computational fluid dynamic models, enabling you to test your concepts in a simulated environment. Next is hybrid and electric vehicles. The future of motorsport is with the use of electric machines, whether as an electric-only vehicle or as part of a complex hybrid system. Whether you decide to be an aerodynamicist or engine design engineer, you will need to understand either cooling issues and flow, packaging constraints, or power deployment. The final year project concludes your studies. This is your opportunity to demonstrate the knowledge and skills you have acquired along the way and showcase your software, engineering, and analysis skill sets.
Okay, so hopefully that played well and you could hear the audio. So that's basically going through, as you can see, obviously it was a whistle-stop tour, but there's quite a lot of information in there quickly. May just generate some questions from people later. But that's our level 4, 5 and 6 program. So next, I'm just again going to do a short video. This one's based on level 7.
Starting with Mathematics for Motorsport.
Sorry, I didn't skip to the next page.
During the master's degree, you will study 9 modules. The modules start with research methods. One of the major skills required for a mechanical engineer working at the forefront of their discipline is the ability to critique others' work and communicate their research and outcomes effectively. This module enables you to appraise, debate, and present complex issues relating to technical literature within your chosen field of study. A range of project management techniques and effective presentation of scientific results, such as the introduction of a new product and/or implementation of new technological processes, is also included. Module 2 is Design and Modelling of Motorsport Systems. Motorsport systems rely upon extensive testing to prove their capabilities prior to application. These systems must therefore start from a design objective, where the final outcomes and all possible variables have already been considered. Design and modelling of a system must go through several iterative steps before converging upon an appropriate design path, and as such, a total overview of the end product must be considered and modelled. During this module, you will learn the importance of design cycles and product requirements. You will develop the skills required to design a system from initial problem to final conceptual design. Next is Advanced Vehicle Dynamics. Data analysts and race car performance engineers require excellent knowledge of vehicle dynamics and vehicle performance through application of mathematical methods and data analysis for such a role in the industry. In this module, you will study the effects of vehicle dynamic modelling and setup changes, enabling you to strategize effectively through application of mathematical methods and data analysis. Moving on is Module 4, Engineering Management Practices. As you develop your career, it is more than likely you will take on more of a management role, whether this be as a team leader in an engineering or research department or as a team principal. It is essential that you understand the concept of management and the legislation surrounding the motorsport industry. This module teaches the art of managing people, whether they be staff or drivers, how to negotiate sponsorship agreements, prepare and agree driver contracts, and the legalities of all aspects of a race team, from truck legislation to employment law. Next is multiphysics analysis for motorsport. Advanced computational fluid dynamics is an imperative part of validating models against real-world results. This module continues your knowledge of thermodynamic and fluid mechanic phenomena by applying analysis to problems of pervasive flow and species so that you can effectively secure solutions to race vehicle design concepts via moving meshes, multi-species environments, and temperature-dependent flow modeling. Moving on, your next module will be driver coaching. An important part of the chief data analyst skill set is the understanding of measured data and the importance of video recording to enable both setup changes and improve driver performance. This module teaches you the fundamentals of industry standard data and video recording software and how to effectively review and utilize this information so you can feed back to the driver and ensure an improvement in lap time. Next is race car applications. An important part of the race car engineer's skill set is the understanding of the mathematical applications of race vehicles and how to critically analyze the system behavior so that future development plans, race strategies, and system modeling can be appropriately generated and utilized. This module teaches you how to develop your own mathematical models for an introduction to MATLAB and Simulink. Your final taught module is race strategy. With many race series now restricting testing, race teams performing in high-end race series rely more on race simulation and strategic mathematical decisions before and during race events. This module introduces you to the process of race strategy through vehicle simulation, lap time simulation, MATLAB models, and data analysis. To conclude your studies in advanced motorsport engineering, you will complete an advanced motorsport project. As part of this final module to your program, you have the chance to showcase your knowledge and skills through the final year project. This project allows you to choose the content and development path to fully explore a research area that you've chosen as your career. The project must include research skills, simulation software skills, analysis skills, and academic writing ability gained throughout the program. This ensures you fully showcase your analytical ability at level 7.
Okay, so that's our level 7. So anybody can move on, obviously can progress from our bachelor's to a master's degree, or anybody already holding a bachelor's degree may want to come direct to our level 7 master's program. So final couple of slides before we get to some questions, and we usually have some frequently asked questions, so hopefully I might cover some off now. But a lot of people ask, how do I study online? Now, everything we deliver is through our virtual learning studio. So you'll get your own log on when you join a program. What does happen is the way we deliver our program is a roll on, roll off program. So that means you choose your start date, which will be the first of a month, and then you work through your program at your pace. You only work through one module at a time. So you only concentrate on one module. Once you complete that module, you move to your next module. During that module, you are given your own tutor who you can contact through phone, Skype, directly through email, or directly on the VLS, our virtual learning studio, and you work with your tutor whenever you're stuck, and you can arrange to meet for online meetings, etc., to help you through. So once you pass the module, you finish the assignment at the end of the module, you move on to the next module, and you work through that way. So how am I assessed? So basically everything, we have a Mathematics for Motorsport module, which is module 1 of our BSc program. That has 10 online tests. There are 10 sections to the maths program, and there are 10 online tests at the end of that module. Any other module from there forward is purely assignment based, with tasks, projects, questions, etc., that you must work through and then submit at the end of your module. Time constraints, quite a big one that people ask about. So the time management of the course for the BSc program, on average, we would suggest you work between 10 and 15 hours per week per module. So normally it changes depending on people's experience of that module or what they are currently learning. But normally we would suggest 2 evenings and a weekend day as a maximum time to work through all the content. Having said that, some people who are quite up to date on what we may be delivering, they may do a module and spend 5 hours on it. They may go to another one and spend 15 hours per week. It just depends on the module at the time. The only other constraint for the course is the length of time to do a module. So to make it fair for everybody, we have a 77-day time period for a module, and it's 55 days for the masters because they're smaller modules. And that just makes it fair when you are marking the assignments at the end of the time period, everybody's had the same amount of time to work on a module. And that's what the university like to see, that everybody's had a fair amount of time on the module and somebody hasn't spent a lot more time than somebody else, to kind of skew the results somewhat. Having said that, there are plenty of ways you can extend that time. You have holidays, you can take leave of absence. There's quite a few different things you can follow through. We just have to complete the appropriate paperwork. If you suddenly find you're very busy at work, you can pause modules and come back to them later on. Finally, what a lot of people again ask, what are the entry requirements? Are my qualifications acceptable, etc.? As I've said earlier, for the BSc, we would be looking for a level 3 or A levels or equivalent, as in a UK standard qualification. And for the masters would be a level 7. We do take into consideration experience, but realistically, because everybody's different who comes to us and anybody who applies, all applications come to me through our application portal, and I will assess anybody who wants to apply, or if you want to contact me direct, I can already have a look through your qualifications or your CV and advise you where to start on our program. And finally, what is the cost? So for UK students, we have a fee. So our bachelor's degree is £6,900, and that's per level. So you would pay that in 3 instalments, or 3 years, if you will. So once you've completed a level and you've completed your 120 credits and your 4 modules, you will then be charged this fee again. And again, you can pay instalments throughout that year, or you may take a student loan in the UK. But that's per level. So you'd have three payments of that across 3 different years. The master's program is a 2-year program, but there's one fee because it's just level 7. So there's one fee of £8,950 for that. And international students, slightly more expensive. But for international students, the BSc £7,950, again per level, and the MSc £9,950 for the whole program. And that is the end. Thank you very much for listening. And I welcome any questions, or if I can advise anyone where to go from here.
Well, I think you can more than likely see where we have some questions, for sure over there. We already had somebody let us know that, like Bob D'Amato, he's taking your course currently, and
yes,
he says it's really incredible and really speaks very highly of it. And I think on down a little bit lower, that one of the last ones that came in was an international, as an international student, would you be able to secure a job in motorsports after graduation? And that's, to me, if you can complete this course the way you got it laid out, I'd say you got people knocking on your door.
Yes, obviously with all the modules we showed, it can get quite heavy at times, and there's a lot of different areas we go into to make sure people are industry ready. As I've said, as one of the entry requirements, we are trying to deliver to people who are working in the motorsport industry. What we do take also, though, is people who've got the practical experience in the automotive industry or in the engineering industry. People come to us with other backgrounds. And like I say, if you're in the UK, you can come racing with us, or we can assist you or help you try and find some placements in the industry out in your own countries. Obviously, it helps the more you can build your CV and get practical hands-on experience in the racing industry. That really matters. And of course, then from there, people really do progress through the motorsport industry. All of our graduates are working in the motorsport industry.
Okay. I might see the one there from Anthony want to know, do you have older students that are reorientating their careers?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you, Anthony. So the way we set up this program, it's very rare we get students who are 18. So when I showed the graph before and said our students, they leave school at 16, they do the level 3 up till 18 and then go on to higher education. Our demographic on our program is 25 plus. Most of our students are the guys who never had chance, and the girls, never had chance to go to university at the time, or they went into a job and now want that opportunity to gain a degree. So anybody, I think our oldest student currently is 67 years old. So it's open to anybody.
Hey, there's hope for me yet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, me. Now you said this one time before, but I might want to go back and revisit it because maybe they didn't hear. What do you have to have as far as a level, of education to be able to get in? And is there? I mean, I'm assuming what you're telling us as far as the UK is concerned. You need to come in with definitely a high school education, maybe 1 year like a junior college, maybe more in line with mathematics more than anything else, at least what I was able to read, correct?
Yeah, so typical, I like to say typical, because like I say, I will look at other people's qualifications, and people come to us from all different backgrounds with all different experience. But the main things we look for, so should be 18 years of age or older with a level 3 vocational qualification. So a vocational qualification, what we would look for would be mechanical engineering, automotive, or any of the automotive disciplines, motorsport. If somebody has gone more of the academic route and gone A levels or equivalent, so again, for the UK, our level 3 equivalents, but A levels, we would definitely want physics and maths as part of those A levels subjects. And again, an engineering or design tech A level to make up enough of the grade to get onto the program.
Okay, Libby's curious again about how do you work on a bachelor's degree And when you got a full-time job outside of like more, motorsports, for example, a technician in civil engineering, but it's going to, how much time, and I thought you laid that out pretty well. And it seems to me that if you have a normal work week or whatever, there should be enough time built into that, and the length of the 55 days.
77 days for the BSc and 55 for the MSc. Like I say, it can be between 10 and 15 hours per week time, which should be evenings and weekends if that works for those people. All of the tutors here are really accessible. So what we always say, obviously we work a 9 to 5 normal day job. So at the most we would be 24 hours or a day before we got back to you if we'd had a lot of questions coming in. But in the main, we probably respond to anybody who asks any questions within 3 or 4 hours. On top of that, you can arrange to have the meetings like I discussed. If it's not phone call, you'd like a face-to-face meeting on Teams or something, you can choose to meet with your with your tutor outside working hours. So if that works for you at an evening, our tutors will arrange a meeting to talk with you outside. Now, of course, if it's something important that you need to get through quite quick, the best way is to talk on the phone or email, because something that's outside of working hours, a tutor may say, well, I've got a few people booked in, it's going to be 3 days or 4 days before we can have that time. So there's a lot of time management you have to also cope with there yourselves, understanding that I need to do this part of my assignment. I'm gonna book an online discussion with my tutor, but it's out of hours. That might be in 3 days' time. So you have to time manage yourself appropriately there. Any other time, like I say, the tutors and students are talking all day, every day in the normal working hours of the UK.
That sounds pretty generous to me. I mean, and again, that was one of my biggest concerns is if you get into a situation, how accessible will there be someone to tutor you or help you, solve the issue that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
The way you work, is it possible? I'm wondering, I don't know if anybody out there is thinking this or not. Let's just say hypothetically, you got a friend that has the same interest you do. If both of you come and you get involved in the course, can you work through it together and share information? This is not like, you can't learn from one another, is it?
Oh no, you can learn from one another and help each other. And we have actually an area where all the students can talk to each other. What we do to obviously we need to make sure we are following the academic rigor. So your assignment, of course, then has to be written by yourself and be completely different. And we run that through a plagiarism software, so we know exactly if that assignment has been written before or parts of it and who by, etc., or if it's just taken from a book, etc., etc. So ultimately, people do work together and they help each other out, and they like that way. As long as the work you submit for the assignment is your own work and you've written it, it's not a problem.
To me, I sound like that's really a wonderful concept, because here again, what do we normally get into when we're involved in a racing team? Teamwork.
Yes,
and
exactly.
having people who can communicate and work on their communication skills at the same time, while again, something that's clear to you may be muddy water to me, but as soon as I get a chance to talk to you, you're able to, explain it in such a way that, it clears itself up, and you're not having to work with the tutor, but you're actually working within, your team. So I like that ability, but I also love the rigors and the constraints that you have as far as, look, we're not going to give somebody a degree unless you earn it.
Of course. The beauty about it as well with the mathematics, which say there's 10 online tests, again, it works through our virtual learning studio, but 2 people can sit down next to each other, both click to do the test, and they will both be different. The questions are randomized in different order. So, or even the maths test will be different if you sat down together, just to ensure that it's your work that you're doing.
I think we got a couple of interesting questions that have come across here that I know that some people are going to be sitting on their heads wanting to know what we're going to talk about or not. Number one, can you have the payments broke down into, a few parts? as far as
Yes,
requirements?
yes, you can. Yeah, that's possible. There's full payment plans. If you go on our website, depending if it's UK or overseas, there's full payment plans, shows you if you're going to do it through a student loan, if you want to pay installments, etc. They can see everything on our website regarding the fees that way.
And how many students have graduated from your program?
Currently, well, we've been going 8 years. Our first year, obviously, as we started, we quickly grew to 120 students. We now have anywhere, because like I say, it's roll on, roll off, so people are starting leaving all the time. We currently have anywhere between 275 and 300 students every year. And we have usually, so we're big, and we usually have around last year we did really well. We had 98% success rate, but usually we're around the 95% on average per year of people who complete the program.
And so that it's not, again, I look at the program and I can affirm that you need to come ready for bear, because this is not, this is not just a walk in the park. And when you leave there, you're going to be a much smarter person. So you realistically, you do have people who do not complete or cannot measure up. There's not a guarantee, is what I'm trying to say. Is
of course. Yes. We do have people who fail the program, of course, but realistically, as I said before, because we're getting people who are slightly older and they're coming back as a second chance to progress in their career, they put their minds to it. Once they sign up and make that decision to signing up, they've decided they're going through with this commitment to work their way through the program. Like with all the help and the one-to-one tuition we get with your tutor, there's no reason why anybody who may even be a bit nervous about doing something can't make it through this course if they put the effort in, if they work with the tutor, if they use the tutor for when they're available. There's no problem people working their way through it. And that's why we have such a high success rate, because of the mentality and the demographic of the people who are coming and signing up to our program.
If you do achieve a level, then try to go to the next level and fail that level, can you go back and take it again?
No,
how do you do that?
So it works as each module, you have 2 reassessment attempts. So basically you've got 3 goes at each assignment. So if you hand in your first attempt and fail, you then get 2 reassessment attempts to put it right. So your tutor will give you feedback and you can put it right. The only difference there is if you pass on your first attempt, you can score between 40% is basically a basic pass, and a first level pass is 70% plus. So you can score between 40 and 100 points to pass your first go. If you have a reattempt with the feedback, you are then capped, even though you may pass and score 65%, you are capped at 40. So the more reattempts you have, the lower your overall grade is going to be, because you start getting capped at 40. But like I say, you have 2 attempts at every module. If you fail for a 3rd time on a module, then you fail the program, unfortunately.
Okay, well, like I say, I mean, that's the way you have to be. I mean, you don't want somebody that doesn't really get it. I mean, I'm sorry to say it that way, but that's real life. Real life.
Yeah, of course.
We have one individual would like to know, I'm a mechanical engineer. Which would be the best program that would suit me to submit to, I guess, to start with? I mean, I know you just said you would have to really, I would have to, if I was this guy, I'd have to come and basically say, this is what I know. And then you'd have to affirm, okay, this is where you can start. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So basically with that person, if they could send me their CV and any qualifications they already have, and any automotive or motorsport experience as well, because it all adds to help me make the decision. And I can go through that quite easily. But if they've already got, with them saying they're a mechanical engineer, if they already have a level 6 BSc or BEng, they could potentially go direct onto our master's program.
There's a couple of questions about accreditations and age. Now, one is Christian wants to know, can you tell me more about the IMECHE accreditation?
Yeah.
And is that settled, and or will it change?
So we've gone through the first process of submitting all the documents, and they review everything to make sure we're okay to apply for IMechE accreditation. That has happened, and that's okay. That doesn't mean we're accredited yet. Then you have to be inspected and everything checked thoroughly, which is fine. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, there's currently quite a long lead time in that. So they've promised us we should be, by the end of 24-25 as a maximum academic year, I mean, there as a very, very maximum, we'll have been visited and approved, hopefully, as long as we go through everything appropriately. That then means students can go onto the IMechE website and apply for IMs and CM status, etc.
Okay, and I think you asked this question, but then again, it's the way they posed it. I think you need to address it. Do you have courses, 16-year-olds who have a 5 GSE?
Yeah.
Can they start learning at 16? I mean, I thought you said 18 was kind of cut off.
Yes, 18. It has to be a minimum of 18 and level 3 qualification. So anybody with GCSEs, especially 5 GCSEs, very good. I'd suggest they go do A levels or a vocational qualification first in automotive, motorsport, engineering, etc., or go do A levels, and then from 18, once they've got a level 3, they'll be fine to come on to our programs.
Now, make sure I understood this, because I think it kind of addresses some of what Libby's asking here. But you say you start your courses at the beginning of each month.
Yes.
Okay. So do you have limits on how many applicants you will accept for a class or for a level?
No, we built in where we now have more than enough tutors for the students we have. And we also have tutors on our books who are part-time, so they may do 2 or 3 days. As the numbers continue to grow, we just increase how many days they do. But we've got a lot of full-time tutors as well. But so we're quite sufficient that we could easily, move into 500-600 students and it not be a problem with how many different staff we've got currently. So we don't cap anybody. And on average, well, for the last 3-4 years now, we've always been between the 275 and 300 mark at any one time in a month, because people graduate as somebody else starts the program, so it tends to stay around that number.
Now, as I said, coming into this webinar, I think that we were all going to be entertained and educated about what's going on, and I really feel like we have, and I hope everybody out there that's been watching and listening and will tell their friends about it, that this is a golden opportunity if you want to be a difference maker. And this is my opinion, but if you want to be a difference maker on a race team, sounds to me like your academy is a place to go.
Thank you very much. Really nice to hear.
Well, thank you very much, Kieran. What a great presentation. And you're absolutely right, Jeff. You just said it perfectly. That's the place to go, But I have a question, actually. At the Long Beach Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago, I saw Oriol Servia, who competed in IndyCar for a very long time, great driver. And I didn't know he had an engineering background. He was an engineer. And knowing how much technology are used today, I'm wondering, do you have any professional drivers that are, on the class trying to understand better mechanical and engineering issues to communicate better with the teams?
Yes, we do. We have quite a few professional drivers, quite a few people who are in GT racing, British GT and things. So we have quite a few. I say quite a few. In the grand scheme of things, our engineers are obviously a lot more, but yeah, we do have drivers, and we've seen a big kind of increase lately of people who are doing esports. So starting to do a lot of the racing in esports and have to understand the setups of the car, etc. So we're getting a lot of people who need to understand the engineering from that side, and that's a new field that's obviously growing very quickly. So we've started seeing people come from esports as well as obviously physical race drivers.
Excellent.
Real quick before you end this thing, Francis, how do we get a hold of you? I'm sure you're getting ready to tell us. We're going to put some up on the website where you guys know how to get in touch with your school and academy. And I want to throw this out there. Bob D'Amato, who kind of opened our day with a question, said he's been doing the driving analysis module deal, and he said it's been great help has helped him a lot. He must be a driver as far as his lap times are concerned. So again, you got a guy that's involved in the program who loves it, and at the same time, he's already, citing the fact that he's getting success from it. So job well done.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. Bob's a really nice student of ours, so it's good to see him in here that he came and listened. But yeah, he's working his way through the course very well. Gets great results.
Excellent, but thank you very much. So we pushed actually Kieran's on the ePortrait platform. We pushed the product, the services, the videos. So just go on ePortrait.com, and the first thing you're going to see is the National Motorsport Academy courses. And thank you very much for being with us today. This webinar has been recorded. It will be posted later on the ePortrait platform, distributed through our newsletters and our social media channel. We will be back live next week. We're going to be talking technical with excess injector about injector technology. So thank you very much for being with us today, and let's go racing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
ePortrait is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
ePortrait, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there, it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
ePortrait really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us. And we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck. Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
I'm Michael Cruz, owner and operator of Got Mechanic LLC. Whether we're out in the field or whether we're in the bay, me and my guys are able to actually go into parts procurement and be able to pull up these prices for our parts and use the parts matrix to actually get a profit off of these parts on the fly. Parts procurement makes it even better just with being able to get in contact with my local retailers.